This show that we do, this is South Africa. It's actually very stressful, because it was the idea is like this kind of live. It's like PMS almost, but live with a live audience and everything like that. So, and it's got like all these cool people: Warren Masemola, Desmond Dube, myself, Lois Ogola, Fred Joe, even. You know, it's I think Pearl. I think we got Pearl Tusi to come and do a sketch, and a whole lot of other comics. It's hard to pitch these types of things because I pitched it to some streaming platform, and then we shook on it. They were like, "Yeah, cool, we're gonna do it. You'll get the money," and then they're not answering calls. So now it's been quite a risky like endeavor now, but we are doing it. You know, working with Jefferson Chabalala. J Bobs is a great theater director, and I think it's going to be a revolutionary thing. I think if it works, it'll be a cool way to also get like a lot more black people to the theater, because I feel like it's like a lot more. It's a funky, entertaining kind of theater thing, you know, where you go to theaters like the pantomimes, which are great, but they're very much for kids and stuff. There's like a bit of commentary, but that's like the mass theater that we have in Joburg, is those Janice Hanneman pantomimes, and then everything else is like serious. The color purple, the Sizwe Banzi is there. Whereas now I feel like it's cool to just get like a popular, just a fun thing of theater. At the time when that show started, there was like a certain idea of what stand-up comedians were, and we had been doing stand-up, you know, but it was the first time kind of there was like this sort of non-white comics, right? There was like myself, David Carr, Riyad Musa, Joey Razdi, people, you know, in the background. Lois Ogola was 16 years old, and so when that show was also for me to say, let's get all these people and these stories and get them to make a TV show, because it's so funny. We've seen that it works in front of people. If you could put it in front of a broader audience, you could tell, you know, it's just a better thing. And then so it was a breakthrough, because once it hit, then the people then knew that we were these funny guys. The Fat Joe show, Fat Joe Live and Fat Joe, is where I got the break into the space. And then the sketches, we had before I got into the Fat Joe show, we had kind of put in this proposal for the Pure Monate show at the SABC. Like, we were very naive, kind of always thinking that it's going to happen the next, you know, like every year we thought, yeah, no, this week they're going to come back to us. And it took 4 years, you know, but in that 4 years, I got onto the Fat Joe show. David Carr was already there with those Data Man and all of that. And then so when we did these little sketches at the top of the show, that's when the SABC thought, oh, hey, those guys, we already got traction. I think that back then there was a sort of an introductory element to it, because you were having like these, like, there was racial, obviously, apartheid had ended like not long before that. And this was the first time there was candid discussion. We were making fun of each other. We were making jokes about race and all of those types of things. Whereas, you know, before that, there'd been like serious theater, you know, protest theater, this and that. Everything was serious. So now was the first time where a guy got on stage and he wasn't gonna make a poem that's gonna make you cry and make you remember. He was gonna tell you things that are gonna make you funny, that are gonna make you laugh about the problems. So that was the kind of, and some of it was also pandering, right? Because you would say things that were just to make white people laugh at the expense of black people and the black experience, and then others were about awakening people to the experiences. I mean, there's guys who would come on stage and say, I can't swim. You know, I stole the radio, I did this, and then there were guys who were trying to tell a more nuanced kind of narrative. Whereas now, and then, you know, the Indian jokes were always the 49.99. So it was always at the crossroads of culture, where you were making these basic like narratives that are just, you know, at the basis of it, it was South Africans being able to laugh for the first time. Some of them, yeah. So it's interesting time. But anyway, always now I feel like the stand-up has become more like individual. The experiences, it's more about like a person's individual experiences, and like they become more abstract. It's a lot more mature, you know, like more abstract personal journey. Yeah, there is still the broader kind of race identity that one kind of says, I fall into this. You know, as a black guy, you're always going to tell your black experience, as a white guy, as a woman, etc. But it's a lot more deeper. The best comedians in South Africa are some of the best comedians in the world. You know, like it's like saying what, like Black Coffee he's not by South African standards, he's like a global DJ, you know. Trevor, Loiso Gola, they're like international comics. Like there's I feel also because of isolation, we always have to measure up. You know that thing, because we come from apartheid and isolation. When we go into the rest of the world, we have to measure up. We're like, how do we compare? Which is natural, because we've been isolated and we don't know. Like we also kind of come. We've got a low self-esteem because we've been told that we're not worthy, even here, right? I was lucky that I made really a good living from stand-up. I was able to then turn it into other things. I was able to build a brand. I was able to make these Pure Monates and all of that type of stuff. But for a young comedian coming in now, there's so many comedians. I like to say that back when I started, if there was a lineup, they said Lediga, David Kau, Riyad Musa, and whoever, Chris Forrest. If I didn't show up, for whatever reason, they wouldn't be able to replace me because there weren't enough comedians. Whereas now, if I don't show up, there'll be two other guys ready to take, who are really good, you know. So the competition is really high, and so I guess whoever makes it through this level of it and this time of it, it has to be really, really good, and then those people will make a living and all of that. But everybody else, it's like, you know, are you the best lawyer in town? Are you the best? I had to be one of the lawyers. I mean, I hope I was great. I hope I was really good. But at my time, there weren't so many comedians that I had to compete with, you know. So it was it was a timing thing. Whereas now, you have to be so good, and then it still doesn't mean you're gonna get to that other level. It's a and you have to, everybody just sink or swim. It's like any business, you know.